So, I believe that we're going to segue into another topic, which is mobile advertising, which I haven't touched on at all, so we're greenfields. And I'm going to bring our panel across from the back to join us. So, and I'm going to be your moderator, so unfortunately you get to listen to me for a few more minutes. Karen and Tarek and Jonathan. Thank you. So, so we have another, couple of minutes to chat. I believe they've allocated us until the end of the hour. So I'm hoping that we can chat a little, but we didn't get a chance to do Q&A, so I'm hoping that you guys will interrupt us and ask questions while we're talking. I think that'll be a good thing rather than waiting for Q&A. So if you have a burning need to ask a question, please do. Please do. So, thank you for joining me. And so we're going to basically plow into this whole idea of, how do you engage with consumers in an intelligent way, what you guys are doing in your various businesses to provide value for the brands that are leveraging your platform. So why don't we start by going through what you guys do so people are familiar with your businesses. So with that in mind, I asked you guys to put together some pictures so you can get a sense of some of the examples of in-market stuff. Why don't we start with you, Tarek? First of all, obviously introduce yourself, introduce what Aeroplan's up to, and then tell me a little bit about your business and what keeps you up at night.
Sure. So we obviously, Canada's frequent flyer program for Air Canada. We have about 4.6 million active members. Traditionally, we've been communicating with them through email. So my role is to expand that into all things digital, including mobile, social media, digital display at airports, that sort of thing. What you see on the screen is our first attempt into extending the Aeroplan experience into mobile. Some of it is just mock-ups to illustrate our strategy. But the most important thing for us is we want to ensure that our members are carrying the card. So we launched our app in late February on the iPhone and iPad. And when you turn your iPhone, you'll see the actual virtual card. I'm not sure how many of you actually know by heart, show of hands, how many of you know by heart your Aeroplan number? Oh, that's actually pretty good. So obviously not the majority, and that's one thing that this will do. It seems very simple, but it actually goes a long way. Imagine if you're booking something, you're checking in at a hotel, you don't have your Aeroplan number, we're not connected with that hotel partner, then that's one thing that we do. The other second, the one all the way to the right, is just simply overlaying all the brick and mortar locations of our partners into a geolocation enabled map. So you can quickly find out the Aeroplan partner near you. Obviously, that's a first step, and the next one is to push offers and notifications as you're passing by, let's say, Home Hardware or an Esso, that there's a free offer for you of double or triple the mile. The last piece is the one in the middle is to actually make the virtual card actually functional. From what we heard all day today, is actually very tough to do. So we're just putting it out there to see what's the adoption is going to be. There's obviously challenges within the existing POS systems, but we do have some partners that can scan. For example, when you're going into an Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge, instead of showing the card, you can show this one, for example. It's similar to the boarding pass that Air Canada provides that has QR codes. So
I definitely want to come back to that whole closed loop and driving end-to-end redemption into POS, because I think that's a huge issue, and let's come back to that, because I think that's a very exciting opportunity for the market as we go forward. But Jonathan, if you could talk a little bit about Slacker, and I know we're all familiar with what you do, but tell us a little bit about how you leverage mobile and social.
Yeah, sure. So Slacker Radio, for those that aren't familiar, is an interactive radio experience. So we have for mobile, for web, for connected home. We have a number of different platforms where our service can be consumed. But one of the unique pieces about our service is that we have both an ad-supported free experience that people can listen for as long as they like, and we have subscription services. So we kind of have both tiers of the business for us from a revenue perspective, where advertising is a key part of our business, as well as subscriptions. And as we look to kind of create a deeper and kind of a richer advertising experience, is really all about monetizing all of those different platforms. And so for us, because we have a music property, and because we're always producing audio content for consumers, there's many different types of advertising units that we leverage. Really from, because we touch the web and we touch connected TVs and we touch mobile phones, we have so many different types of clients, we have so many different types of ad units, all to ensure that our listeners who actually spend hours per day with our service are getting an experience that, one, keeps that service free for them if they choose, but also for our advertisers that they're getting what they're looking for. And so that could go from pre-roll video, that could be rich media or display ads, those could be in-stream audio ads, they could have call to actions, they could be brand plays, they could be CPA, they could be CPM. I mean, really for us, we have a large audience, and as we've gone past 30 million listeners in the U.S. and we're rapidly approaching 1 million in Canada as we're just kind of rolling out here, we give clients the opportunity to go after a segment that is important to them and that we also know are listening at that exact moment. So unlike broadcast radio today, where you don't always know exactly who's listening or when, nor can you provide a great call to action at that exact moment. We can, and so we're really looking to leverage that as much as possible.
Got it. And hopefully we'll come back to how the fact that you curating content helps you develop a targeted message based on what channel they're picking and things like that. I'm sure we'll be able to go deeper into that. But let's just introduce Karen. Karen, if you could just walk us through what you're doing with the NHL and how you engage with brands and what properties you represent.
Privacy Star offers a suite of high-quality features.
Oh, and that's what an audio ad sounds like.
And personal listings.
Yeah.
There are a lot of apps that claim the same, and for free. While most of these apps like to borrow your personal information, then share it with marketers.
Well, this is sort of
Privacy
like,
Star doesn't share any
this
of
is
your
a paid
personal
panel. This is a free
deliver
panel.
Ad-supported panel.
Ad-supported panel.
Our
We believe
responsible.
when you
Thank you for
pay
that.
for a service, you shouldn't be bothered with ads or have questions.
Sorry about that.
of
Okay,
privacy.
can you just mute audio and we'll just go on with Karen? Thanks. So, Karen, the floor is yours.
I joined the NHL in 2008 to head up digital media sales for Canada. And our product, I mean, we, first and foremost a league, but we've turned ourselves into a media company. And our product has evolved tremendously over the past number of years, adding in a number of platforms for us to engage with our fans and adding in a number of platforms for our marketers to take advantage of. So for instance, 5 years ago we didn't have the events that we have today. Now we have the Premier Games, we have Face Off, we have the All-Star Game, we have the Winter Classic, we have Trade Deadline, which has been around forever, we have the Heritage Classics. We created these platforms and these events for our marketers to take advantage of it. Every time we now run these events, we put a lot more marketing effort behind them, and we serve them up not only as an experience in the real world, but also in the digital space, in the mobile space, engage fans in the social space. In the social and mobile environment, we've really been in it for the past 2 years. So we, like probably many of you, are experimenting, learning, growing in that environment as well. So what you see on the screen is a mishmash of things we've done in the mobile and social space, also touching on multi-platforms. The top left corner is my Inks and Rinks experience, where we engaged fans simply in Facebook and asked them to, the Rinks was right before the Winter Classic, we asked people to post photos of their own outdoor rink and got them to create photo albums. Each album had over 200 submissions, and fans were commenting and sharing and adding to the experience. The ink one on the right is tattoos. People actually have tattoos of their favorite teams and submitted that and created a great photo album of that and allowed people to have fun with that. On the bottom right is the Trade Deadline experience. And again, this is something happens every year, but every year for some great reasons, it grows in user engagement and fan consumption, adding it to multiple platforms in the mobile space, in the social space, letting fans have a voice, for us have been great ways to grow our traffic, grow our engagement, grow the experience. This year for Trade Deadline, we added a Cover It Live, which was a live chat for Trade Deadline, which had over 155,000 fans engaged in it during the Trade Deadline day. On the bottom left-hand side is what's coming soon in our first foray with predictive gaming. So it's a game companion piece that while you're watching, sports is probably one of the few remaining appointment viewing experiences you can still get in broadcast. So while you're watching the game, we've created this tablet and mobile opportunity for fans to download an app and predict what's going to happen in that game in real time, whether it be, there's a power play, is there going to be a goal, no goal, icing just happened, it's like who's going to win the face-off. So a lot of questions, you can imagine in one period there's probably a lot of game stoppages that would allow fans to engage with questions that we throw at them. Layer in an opportunity to register and earn points. There's so many ways that we can create a sharing community, get a sponsor on board, have sponsored content. In this particular case, we're launching with Molson. We're going to create the trophy case or have it be the Molson cooler where you can, as you're registered, you can earn points and get Molson rewards as you're going through the experience. So a phenomenal way to, in the mobile space as well as in the social environment, get fans to compete, get on a leaderboard, communicate, share, grow that
So,
activity.
That's a good segue into, I think, what most brands and retailers and folk that buy media are sort of focused on. Mobile is an exciting space, and there are lots of fun things you can do. You just illustrated a whole pile of things that you've done, which are amazing and very creative. Social is an amazing space. Lots of amazing things that you can do with what's out there. When you meet with a brand, and this is a question sort of to all of you guys, just jump in. When you meet with a potential, a client, and they say, well, I love what you guys do. That's why we're meeting with you. But really what I need to do is X, Y, and Z. I need to sell a product. I have to generate some branding for launch, or whatever the case is. How do you move the creative and all the excitement with mobile down to brass tacks and say, well, this is what you get. You buy it on a CPM, and this is what it's going to generate from you. This is the kind of KPIs that we're going to look at, and you're going to think of this as a success. What is the story, and just jump in, any of you, that you tell a brand to sell that particular property or that particular inventory?
We're more of a buyer, so I'll jump in last after you guys.
So much of that depends on what they're looking for. What we look at is, in a lot of ways, trying to look at what either the audience that they're trying to reach, or specifically what they're trying to accomplish, right? So, are you trying to promote a download of an app, or are you trying to get people to go to your Facebook page, or are you trying to go, reach your brand, or you've got a movie opening this week? It's so broad that there's different ways that clients are looking to reach the audience. For us, a lot of that is trying to make sure that we are able to segment and target our audience in the way that they're looking for, and reach them in as many different places as possible. So, while mobile is very exciting, and we have people in the car, we have people that are replacing their iPods with their mobile phones, and so it's their go-to music source, and they're using our service for that. We provide a unique opportunity to reach somebody in places that advertisement doesn't typically reach people, which is that, it's in their pocket, they're on the go, maybe they're riding their bike, and these are ways that, in their ear, that we can deliver a message that's important. And sometimes that can be a call to action. Sometimes it may be, this movie is coming out this week, you need to go see it. So it's such a broad range, and trying to make sure that we have enough examples of how we can achieve either brand success or activation success.
So
and
how
so
do you
forth.
get a repeat customer? What is it that you're promising that you deliver on, which allows them to come back and say, I love what you're doing, and I'm going to just buy.
Yeah, one of the great things about a service like ours, it's very measurable, right?
Yeah.
So, we can deliver the metrics that show how we perform, right? And a lot of the hooks that are related to that. And it's taken a while, right? Mobile hasn't didn't immediately have all of the benefits that the web has. The web over the years has developed, such phenomenal tracking and reporting and metrics and things, and mobile's taken some time to get there, but it's getting there, and the more you're, as a publisher, that you're able to create and produce and deliver those metrics and show that these were the activations, these were the interactions we had with the consumers, this is the audience that we reached based on what we were looking to reach, and this is the different places that we were able to reach them, it's the metrics that will drive that and be able to show that it's not that you bought a campaign and you just hope it works, right? You have the metrics to back it up.
So, Terry, on the other side of the fence, so you're going out there and you need to buy some inventory to promote an app or promote a service. Isn't it a bitch to buy mobile? Isn't it like it's not like you have the incredible reach and frequency that you do with the traditional online. This sounds like an oxymoron, but online digital as opposed to whatever that means. The large screen digital as opposed to small screen digital. How do you go out and buy one-stop shopping for all your media needs?
It is very difficult. There's two complexities to it. One is we actually support 3 sectors, types of partners. So we have the travel, airline, car, hotel. We have the financial, SIBC, Visa, American Express. And then we have our new coalition retail sector that we need. And all 3 of them have different needs and so forth. And then we do have the traditional email, if you will. We have a sought out after email database. 80% of Canadian households of 100,000 or more are members of Aeroplan. So there's how do you make sure that then a mobile or a social campaign fits in with one of those 3 sectors, because you can't have one strategy that fits all. The other part is how do you integrate it with the rest of the campaign, and that has been the biggest challenge, biggest struggle.
So how do you make sure that it's not just a standalone, but you're driving value horizontally across all these touch points?
Correct, because traditionally you'll have a marketing communication department. They have a brief, they take to the agency, they come back, they say let's do this, and that, and they say yeah, let's buy some mobile ad, but they don't know whether it's going to work or not, and 9 times out of 10 they didn't even think about having a mobile optimized landing page. So it's just those simple things of how do you get the traditional, and for lack of a better word, the traditional campaign managers to actually think about all of these things. Before it was around, I need a landing page for my email. Now I need a mobile optimized landing page. And then you go into iPads, I need a touch optimized landing page. And for example, with travel, it's easier because most of our travel partners are very digital savvy. They have a lot of e-commerce. Financial, not so much. You're not gonna have a mobile banner in front of somebody while they're checking their weather, saying apply for a Visa card on your mobile. So what you need to do is just maybe use it as a lead generation mechanism. So type in your email and we'll send you an enriched offer via email.
So different, you're looking at the different screens and you're giving different experiences based on the ergonomics and what that person may be doing at that given moment with that particular screen. Because I know, Karen, this is the big thing that you were talking about, is this whole, managing these multiple screens, creating consistent messaging, cross-channel disconnect. I mean, how do you, what insights do you have from dealing with customers in this regard and selling that whole story right across?
Yeah, so our goal is to get people on the high end of the value chain and spend the biggest budget with us, and at each point try to package something that is going to speak to that consumer in a different way at each touch point. Our business is hockey, music, travel. Everything we do, when we get to that high value packaging, is it's got to be a hockey themed initiative that could be sponsored, or we could build an integration for that advertiser. Mobile is so early and young and new. Even if we just work with an agency for a mobile buy, as you mentioned, there's often not even an optimized mobile website, so why are they even dabbling in it? The creative that they have to put in it is not that rich, but we can work with suppliers like Point Roll to create a more of an interstitial or more of a rich experience around that, as opposed to having just a display and click to a website. But we like to create a value proposition that has every touch point in it and measure back based on, it typically comes back to some kind of impression measure. to show the value against the investment that
Karen,
they
you were
put
saying
into it.
this morning you had a client meeting and they were talking about CPMs and impressions. I don't know if it was mobile or social or whatever, but give me some sort of sense of, from a real world example of how people are reacting to what you're selling and how they're responding.
Well, yeah, my meeting this morning, we went in to do a recap on a program that our partner did recently, and to also try and sell them into the playoffs coming up, Fast and Furious. And we had in front of them 3 different packages that they could take advantage of. And at the end of the day, each one was a pretty unique experience, one of the most compelling, in my opinion, for the client, because it included more touch points, television, real-world experience, online, video, feature articles, mobile extension. It could have layered in a sweepstakes. So it had really all the touch points. It had a lovely social program as well. And at the end of the meeting, the one question the client had was, what I would need to know from you is how many impressions am I going to get in each experience, and what is the cost? He just wanted to work it back to an equation that he could figure out his CPM.
And that's what I was trying to get to when you were showing all these incredible examples of creative, is that when you're dealing with a media buyer, they're looking at a matrix of properties. Yeah. They want to know what kind of reach they get, and they want to know what kind of CPM they're going to have to, what kind of CPM you're charging, and then they've checked it off the box. It's very hard to get them to work hard with mobile, where the other more mature incumbent medias are easier to buy, and then it is a challenge. Yeah. You can talk about whatever you like, but I was just going to go ahead.
The only thing I was going to add to that is that the interesting thing from the media buyer perspective is that it's very siloed still, right? So the media buyers are divided up into different groups. And when you have all of these multiple touch points, and you have multiple types of advertising, whether it's social, whether it's video, whether it's audio, whether it's display, whether it's mobile, whether it's web, many of the agencies, many of the clients are siloed in such a way that they are, you buy online, you buy display, you buy audio ads, you buy video ads. They don't necessarily always share creative. They don't necessarily always share what the campaigns are. In fact, in many cases, they're battling each other for budgets. And so it can be a challenge to try and produce a cohesive campaign when in many cases, the buyers themselves aren't acting as a cohesive team, right? So it can be a big challenge to try and put together a campaign that delivers on everything they want, and it can all get boiled down to a CPM, right? Because it's the common currency in many ways. And it's hard to say, well, what about all this other stuff? We can these things will deliver on all of your goals. They're like, well, that's okay. That's not really what I do.
Exactly.
Right? You got to go talk to the guy.
I'm a buyer. I'm not a promotional guy. I'm not CRM.
That's right.
So if targeting is such a big thing, and let's get back to your initial song and dance, where you said, look, I've got all these channels. I got a targeting opportunity. I've got them in a very captive audience situation. I sort of know what music they're listening to. Talk to me a little bit about targeting, which is the holy grail of mobile. As long as I've been in mobile advertising, you have the Jump Taps of the world and all these networks that promised targeted engagement. You have data behind a lot of this information, location-based data and other touch points which allow you to target intelligently. Tell me how you navigate targeting to make it beneficial to the brand without spooking the consumer on privacy, and give me a story of how you navigate that and how that can be a beautiful experience for a brand, a buyer, and a consumer.
Yeah, I think it's the hot topic of the day, right? As far as how do you, with so many services and so many applications being ad-supported and consumers really gravitating toward, I want everything for free all the time, right? Which is extremely common and frustrating for a lot of the content owners. Is that how do you create that balance, right? For us, part of that is, our business is not all advertising. Some of it's subscription, so there are 2 different types of our business.
And how does it break down? What percentage?
About 70% of our revenue comes from subscriptions.
Really?
Right? So the ad-supported piece is important, but it's not the key business driver for us. It's one of the 2. But the reality is that in some cases it's education, right? So that the consumer really knows, like, I understand that this is a free service, and because this is a free service, there's going to be advertising, and because there's advertising, there's going to be a certain amount of targeting that's part of this. But you also have a difficult way to communicate with that. Nobody reads their privacy policies, right, except lawyers that are looking for things to do, right? So you've got a challenge in communicating things back to a consumer that these advertising is part of the way you get the service for free, and as a result, there's going to be targeting that's around this, and the information we collect, we're going to try and use that as a way to deliver relevant ads to you.
Anonymously, yeah.
Right? But not in such a way that you feel like somebody's following you around, right? And that's the big challenge.
Now, do you just so we know, do you deliver different advertising on a classical channel as opposed to jazz, as opposed to rock?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely we do. We'll deliver you different ads, whether you're a male or female, whether you're 25 or 45, whether you listen to hip-hop or you listen to rock music, right?
And Randall Rothenberg, who's the CEO of IAB and out of New York, he talks about, there shouldn't be a problem really for the consumer, because I don't have to know that you're a dog to know that you like dog biscuits. They're not necessarily connected. This is anonymous. But do you find that you get responses, any of you, that from either from your consumers, from your audience, that say, whoa, hold on a second, how much of my information are you using to be successful with the advertising? Do you ever have you have a lot of data, right?
Right,
you don't do
and we have a very strict privacy policy, and our app leverages the security that is embedded with the iOS device and so forth. When it comes to whether it's social graph data or mobile location data, I take that stuff and I discount it by a factor of at least 5, to be honest.
Meaning what?
In a sense that it seems really nice and sexy in the front end, but it's once you start digging in, not because there's something wrong with the data, but it's actually really hard to leverage it on a real-time basis. We use for our targeting transactional history. And that has a certain lifespan. If somebody just came back from a flight on Air Canada, we know and from history that the next flight is going to be in a month or 6 weeks and so forth. So we have time to plan for that. If somebody is driving and they opted in to receive geolocation offers, by the time I kind of tap into their profile and know where they are and go back into the system in the cloud and find out a relevant offer, he's gone, he's passed by. So it's the data, it's actually everything that is around it. So for us, we'd like to we tend to do everything on an opt-in basis. Of course we leverage.
Do you mean opt-in by, hey, I'm in Baltimore, I'd like to know where the closest hotel is? Is that what you mean by opt-in?
Correct.
Because they've already opted in to receive communications from you. You mean on an on-demand basis?
That, as well as opt-in as I want to share my location with you.
Got it.
As well.
Like like the example you gave of I'm in a map and I've got my points of interest appearing.
Correct. So that you show, for example, if you're a frequent flyer program, we're probably going to push you more of a hotel offer. If you're more of a retail member, then we're going to push you more of a credit card offer rather than a flight offer. So these kind of things, they actually they work very well in a traditional sense, but they also work just as well in a mobile if you can merge the real-time data that you get real-time.
Got it. But obviously with mobile, it's really real-time because I'm on the go.
If I could speak quickly just to the vendor side of mobile advertising and the location-based targeting.
Sure.
We're not really there yet in Canada. I think the telcos have restricted the information that we're able to gather in the ad serving solution to really geo-target well. We can, speaking on behalf of the NHL, I know we can do provincial, national, and that's about it. If we try to hone in on anything else, we just don't have enough data in the system to do it well. Even we've got some feedback from one of our clients who I think he did a provincial campaign, came back to us with some data and shared the fact that we actually did a high percentage of geo-targeting for him, but we didn't hit it bang on. And in fact, one of our competitors, who shall remain nameless, but who claimed they could do it spot on, had a worse percentage than we did. So there's a lot of work that has to be done in the Canadian marketplace.
Yeah, when you just so we're clear, when you talk about geo-targeting from that perspective, you talk about sort of
serving.
like a geo-fencing of, say, a hockey arena. So then when I trip across a certain line, I can say, hey, we can put some bums in seats, and I'm going to send out an offer or something like that. That's a geo-fence. So you're talking about geofencing?
No, I'm speaking about you're on NHL.com's mobile website or in our app, and you want to serve up an ad to a fan, wherever they are, engaging in that content, if you're targeting someone in Ontario, we say we can do that with our ad serving solution, but we don't do it.
You should be able in an app to ping through the GPS and find out where they are if they give them permission to do that with an app and locate them if they open the app. The challenge is when they haven't got the app open and you don't have access to the GPS coordinates, then they have to trip across a geofence and you have to ask the carrier for that information.
Yeah,
and that's a challenge, and we won't get into that right
now.
The
best geolocation advertising that we've done on mobile was actually through the Weather Channel app. It's the best location-based advertising. They check it all the time, and if you're in San Francisco and you're going home, and you're checking the weather home, we know that you're in San Francisco and you're coming back home, so you can have an offer there. If you're at home and checking the weather in San Francisco, we know that you're traveling to San Francisco. I mean,
weather is an awesome, has always been with mobile, just an awesome portal to drive brand goals because of that. It's one of those. If you have 5 apps, it's going to be weather, bank, it's going to be Facebook and 2 games, right? And Slacker, of course. And, so I'm not seeing any hands, so I'm just moving on. Let's just talk briefly about social, because we haven't talked about this specifically. How do you guys go about manufacturing community? Because that's essentially, you can tap into existing community. I'm sure that your goal is to build community that you have ownership of, because then you can leverage that, right? So how does Slacker, how does Aeroplan, how does NHL manufacture community? When community is really on the web is something that is embryonic and just happens in and of itself. How do you play a role in manufacturing and leveraging social?
So on our side, with our service, right, for one, music tends to be fairly social. So there's a lot of opportunities where people will want to share experiences and be part of experiences with other people. Maybe that's music taste that someone else has that they want to share in. So we have opportunities there, and for us, we always have that as an opt-in, right? We don't really require you to participate in that. But whether that's opting in with Facebook to share with your friends or being part of our Facebook experience, we also do things that we engage our fans. So keeping people involved in what we do, whether it's inviting them to events that we're doing here, music festivals, whether it's promotional items and merchandise, and engaging them in opportunities to talk with each other, right? It's a community that wants to be formed in a lot of ways, and for us, it's facilitating that and giving them the tools to do it. Mm-hmm. It's forcing a community is really hard, right? Yeah. If you're trying to say, to a group of people that you should all hang out together and they don't really have an interest in that it's going to be difficult. And in fact, going back to on the advertising side, it's not uncommon for a client to say, I want to use your service to build this giant, community of people that don't want to hang out with each other, right? So, sometimes you have to come up with a theme that's actually going to be interesting enough where people are going to want to congregate and share things with each other. Otherwise, you'll never get the payoff of that.
So I've got 3 incredible social channels here. I've got music, I've got sports, I've got travel, right? So you using that to create your social footprint, right? And it, naturally. I'm just. You're welcome to pipe in, but I'm also cognizant that I want to include a few questions from the folks. So I have a lady here who has a question.
Hi, my name's Erin. I'm from Greaves & Allen Advertising Studios. My question is mostly towards Tarek, actually. In regards to your app, so you obviously have offer redemptions that you're taking from a merchant's POS terminals, and you're dealing with multiple merchants. How are you actually redeeming those offers? Like, how are you guys actually doing that from a redemption capabilities perspective?
Great question.
At the POS, we're not doing it. What we're doing is we're targeting you based on your profile. So we match your Aeroplan number with a targeted offer.
Right.
And if you happen to go to that store and you actually buy that product, or you actually go between that time and this time, whether you heard about it through an email, hopefully through the mobile app, then that's how you get triggered once we see the transaction in the back end.
So you're connecting it with the card member account?
Correct, but
okay.
we're not attributing that conversion to mobile yet, because they're not using the mobile app to actually redeem for it.
It's an offer.
It's just an offer that we're pushing it through the app. Whether they actually, we're not there yet. My hope is that these QR codes and barcodes will actually now be attached to coupons and offers that they can be scanned. However, I think NFC is going to catch up much faster than a lot of retailers to catch up to scanners and so forth.
Okay. Have any of you guys had any success in closed loop end-to-end programs where you did a call to action, somebody did post-click conversion, you delivered some value, and that was closed either, I guess the cloud's easier, right? Because you're a cloud conversion or bricks and mortar. Any illustrations on bricks and mortar? Because that's the hardest one, right?
I'm just thinking of, again, my meeting this morning, where we did the recap of, so as a sponsor at our All-Star event at the end of January, had a presence at the fan fair, did some online, sponsored the media day, took advantage of a full multimedia experience, and then again in the meeting today said that he actually already measured business from that experience. He was able to track it right back to someone walking in and signing up.
But again, it's similar to Tarek. It's not a closed loop. It's open loop. It's basically you have an offer and we see general lift. But you're not saying, gave an offer, it had unique trackable code, and I did an end-to-end, closed loop redemption on that code. So I knew that it was attributed to that Joe Blow who got the ad in the app.
I probably would have examples with our Game Center subscription, or because we do a lot of promotion with unique codes that pull back, but it's not
in the
my
cloud. You'd probably be able to see the cloud. Yeah.
We would for sure have some.
Yeah, brick and mortar is definitely more challenging. We've done campaigns like that. But really for us, the closed loop transactions that work are the ones that can happen all at the same, all within your mobile handset, right? So whether that's, this is a great app, I'm going to go get the app, I've downloaded and used the app, those are things that we can measure end to end. Here's a coupon for $1 off a hamburger, go buy one, that's a lot different, more difficult to execute.
Yeah, a lot of the in-market stuff that is closed loop is EPP integration, which is like you talked about, electronic proof of purchase. So it's using a loyalty card, it's using some other attribute to do closure on, like even Target that talks about all this closed loop stuff they do with coupons. They're just allowing you to coupon clip either on your phone or the web onto your loyalty card, which happens to be like that. And you can either use the mag swipe or you can use the image, scan it, but it's not, all it's doing is pulling up your loyalty card and it says, oh, we have all these offers that are attributed, bam. It's not closed loop unique offers.
Can I go back to the social media question? Because we've done a lot of work, test and learn in terms of social media advertising. So 3 years ago when we looked into our own, what are we going to do in social, it seems like we thought we were way behind 3 years ago, but not right now. However, we decided not to build our own community, not to build an island where we want to push people towards and compete with the Facebook and the Twitter of the world. So we focused really on Facebook and Twitter, and we have a blog that really curates a lot of the content that is generated on Facebook and Twitter. The advertising strategy that works for us is one, acquiring fans and followers. So this is using sponsored stories, sponsored accounts, the like button in the ad and so forth. And also once we actually have our fans, we not only post the offers, but we actually promote the offers, but only to our fans. So in a sense that you're kind of capturing an email database and you're sending them an email every once in a while. So yes, we capture them as fans, but we all know on Facebook, every post, only 16% of your fans will see the post. So that's why we kind of double down and actually buy premium ads to reach more than the 16%. And although I cannot have a closed loop as well, but I do see, from looking at our omnichannel tracking, that the engagement with our brand on our website is much higher for members that come from Facebook and Twitter than from, let's say, even a remarketing or a behavior targeting advertising. Now, how do we take that and push it into mobile? We're waiting for Facebook to introduce their advertising platform. So.
Got it. Well, I know that I wanted to just get one or two more questions. Anybody who has a burning need to ask a question that's relevant to their business, shout out. No, so we're sort of out of time, so maybe we can just go over a minute just to sort of conclude. one area I just want to touch on, because I think I'd be remiss not to, is the evolution of wallets. And so as we move into this whole economy where it may not be based on, I mean, Google and others know this, is that they're going to get a high CPM in a contextual space which is tied to your commerce behavior than they are, you know, in another sort of more open media opportunity. So if the wallets start to roll out, which they are, either cloud-based wallets or NFC wallets, and you can attribute deals into those wallets, then the whole question that we had here about closed loop goes away. Because now you can actually do redemption right close to the deal. Is that an area that you guys are looking at? Are you looking at the evolution of the touch point with the consumer as it moves into commerce, as it moves into other sort of richer engagement opportunities? Are you looking down the road at that at all?
Yeah, so obviously this is an area that's really interesting, because I think we've seen on our own side, as I mentioned, subscription's a key part of our business, right? So there's a little bit of an analogy there, which is that we work with the mobile carriers so that people can subscribe to our service directly through their mobile phone bill, right? Mm-hmm. So, in a sense... You're doing direct billing there? The direct billing, right. So, I mean, in a sense, you have a consumer who's willing to facilitate a transaction through their phone that's adding it into a bill that they already pay. Whether that's some kind of a wallet or it's my phone bill or whatever, the experience is there that says, I want to put this on my credit card, essentially. It's just the credit card I pay every month when my phone bill comes. And there's a clear path to, from a friction perspective, right, is that we see that 10 times more people will subscribe if they can add it to their phone bill versus having to go through some other path of purchase, right? Mm-hmm. So from our perspective, there's a very clear path for consumers to want to do that, right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of privacy, there's lots of issues that surround that, but in a model where people are already having the opportunity to say, put this in a place in a bill I already pay, I just want to do it right now and I want to do it right away. Taking that friction away is extremely important to closing the deal on the purchase, and it's something that is a comfortable thing as long as the bill that you're paying is something that you're comfortable paying, right? So I think that we're heading down that path. Whether the mobile carriers are going to step up and say, "Hey, we want to be the wallet too," right. It's happening, right? Whether that's a Google or it's a mobile carrier space, but taking that friction away, those purchases happen much faster, and it's really important to do that. Yeah.
Tarek, do you want to live inside, Google Wallet, a carrier wallet? I mean, you're a loyalty play. Are you thinking about positioning yourself as being part of those wallets?
We want to be in every wallet.
Exactly.
But I don't think we're there yet. The technology is not there. The infrastructure is not there. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't start preparing for it. So one of the things that we recognize is that you have to also prepare for it based on what the type of purchases that is going to happen through the mobile. So if you take a travel booking, typically any travel site, 10% of its booking that is done online is for same day or near departure day travel. On the mobile, that number can be as high as 50%. So that's more tapping into the impulse kind of buy.
Right.
So if you start leveraging your own app itself for micropayment or same day purchases, in our case travel, then you start building that habit. And at the end of the day, when the NFC and the technology and Google Wallet comes in, that will just accelerate it into the hotel, into the retail, into so forth. So I would say the best strategy is to start building that within your own kind of ecosystem, giving them the tools, easy to remove the frictions, to Jonathan's point. And then once the NFC comes in, the Google Wallet, everybody else, you're ready. You're way ahead than anybody else.
Got it. And you said the magic word, impulse. So on that, we're going to end the panel. I encourage you guys to follow everybody on the panel. You've got your Twitter handlers there. If there's anything else, are there any personal Twitter? Do you guys tweet a lot? Is there any personal handlers you want to know? But yeah, okay. Okay.
You'll probably find me more on Xbox Live than Twitter with that handle.
Got it. Now we're starting to really uncover the personalities behind our panel. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your attention.